How's it going, everybody? I'm Steve, and welcome back. So tonight I want to talk about my 10 favorite movies from Miramax and Dimension. So unfortunately, this studio has gone through some rough times because of Harvey Weinstein, and that's unfortunate for the movies, really, because this was actually a great studio at one time, and they kind of distributed a lot of movies at the time through they would go through film festivals like Sundance at one time and pick out really great movies and decide to put them in theaters and physical media at the time, and then I think they became like a production company at one time, and obviously Harvey Weinstein, he went to prison for some stuff, and really really bad kind of things, and he kind of held these movies hostage for a long time, and now he's kind of finally selling these titles now, and they're getting like 4K releases. That's really great for the fans. But I decided I wanted to do like 10 films here, and there's actually one film that I had on my list at one time, and I decided to kind of remove it because it sort of qualifies but doesn't really. But the movie is Garden State. This movie is written and directed by Zach Braff. Has Natalie Portman, Peter Skarsgård, Ian Holm. But this movie is actually, if you watch the movie, it starts off with the Fox Searchlight logo, because apparently this was actually like a co-distribution between them and Miramax, because actually Fox actually had the rights as far as showing it in like the U.S., Canada, and Asia, and Miramax had the rights internationally. So I decided to rank these movies from least rewatchable to most rewatchable, but all 10 are really great. And actually, Dimension was part of the horror sub-label that was started by Bob Weinstein. So number 10, this movie's from 1998. Director is John Dahl. The movie's called Rounders. This movie's starring Matt Damon, Edward Norton, John Malkovich, Martin Landau. If you know, in the early 2000s, there was like a Texas Hold'em poker kind of resurgence kind of thing, really popular at the time, and this movie's really a big influence on that. Basically, a lot of people really didn't know Texas Hold'em at the time, and poker was not really extremely popular as far as in the mainstream. But then Vegas kind of hosted these tournaments, and they still do it, but it was on ESPN at the time, and a lot of people that kind of competed in that really say that Rounders was like a big influence. So I love this movie because of that. John Malkovich is really great. So at number 9 from 2005, this is actually the first one from Dimension on this list. Directors are Robert Rodriguez and Frank Miller. The movie's called Sin City. So I love the first one here. The sequel came like 8 years later. Wasn't nearly as good. Actually, it was kind of disappointing, kind of forgettable, in my opinion anyway. But this one's starring Bruce Willis, Clive Owen, Mickey Rourke, really great in this movie, Benicio del Toro. Yeah, really dark kind of film. This one's almost like a horror film in some ways. It's really really dark, but I love it though. Like I said, the sequel came 8 years later. Didn't have the same kind of tone, but I love this one though. This one I can watch over and over. So at number 8 from 2003, director is Quentin Tarantino. The movie's called Kill Bill Volume 1. So I love Volume 1. Volume 2 is obviously the end of the story. It's a lot longer than this one. That one's like over 2 hours. It's like a lot more exposition. This one's really more of like an action film. It's a lot more fun. I can actually watch this movie from start to finish and not even watch Volume 2 because I know how the story ends. I've watched that one so many times. But obviously this one, we have Uma Thurman, David Carradine, Lucy Liu, Vivica A. Fox. And obviously you see Daryl Hannah and the late Michael Madsen more in Volume 2. So at number 7 for 1997, I have another one from Tarantino. The movie's called Jackie Brown. This one's really great. Obviously it's like 3 years after Pulp Fiction. Starring Pam Grier as the late Robert Forster. Samuel L. Jackson, he's really great in the movie. Robert De Niro has Michael Keaton, Bridget Fonda. This one's really great. I think this one really kind of overlooked because of Pulp Fiction. When they kind of try to follow up that kind of movie with this, some people are going to be a little bit disappointed, but I love it though. I saw it in the theater. Fantastic. So at number 6 from 1996, I have another one from Dimension. Director is Robert Rodriguez, and the movie's called For Dusk Till Dawn. So I remember when I saw this movie in the theater, I knew nothing about it. Didn't know, just a spoiler, it's a vampire movie, but I knew nothing about it. I didn't see like a trailer or anything. I knew nothing. But obviously this one's starring George Clooney, has Quentin Tarantino, has Harvey Keitel, has Salma Hayek in this movie. It obviously has Juliette Lewis. But this movie's so much fun. To me, it's really dark, but this one I can watch over and over again, even though I know kind of how the movie kind of turns. But to me, I think it's one of those kind of movies that even after you see it once, I think you can watch it over and over, and it's still great. So at number 5, I actually called an audible on this before recording, but this one's from 1994. Director is Kevin Smith. The movie's called Clerks. So the one on the bottom here with the love this movie. Obviously, it's I was like 21 when this movie was released originally. Kevin Smith, financed this movie by using all of his credit cards, and it was really kind of something he really wanted to do. But obviously, it could have broken him basically. But he wouldn't have a career without this movie. But this one's obviously starring Brian O'Halloran, Jeff Anderson, Jason Mewes. Kevin Smith plays Silent Bob in the movie, but obviously it's like a big franchise. So at number 4 from 1996, I have another one from Dimension. This one's from the late director Wes Craven. This one's called Scream. Obviously, I have another big franchise here. For me, it's like the original, the only one I really watch over and over. The other ones I've seen all in the theater, but I don't own. But for me, I think they're sort of like copycats of the original. So this movie has Neve Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Drew Barrymore, Matthew Lillard, Skeet Ulrich. So a lot of people kind of associate horror films with like slashers from the 80s. I think in like the early 90s, a lot of people were kind of disappointed with horror films because they try to do something different. And Wes Craven kind of brought back the slasher and kind of brought some like basically some humor to it as well. So at number 3 from 2007, this one's a Best Picture winner. It's from the Coen brothers. The movie's called No Country for Old Men. This one's really great. Obviously, it's Tommy Lee Jones, Javier Bardem, Josh Brolin. So a lot of people know the character that Javier plays in this movie. He's a great villain, great antagonist, almost like a horror film kind of character. He's fantastic in the movie. It's really scary. It's really great. I think the movie's the perfect running time. I think it's great. It's one that I saw in the theater. It really kind of grows on me every time I see it. Obviously, the first 2 films, number 1, number 2, are really great too. But this one's, I could have put it at number 1. I think all 3 are really great. So number 2 for 98, this one's from Gus Van Sant. I actually watched it last weekend again. The movie's called Good Will Hunting. This one's another Best Picture winner. Obviously it's Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Robin Williams, really great in this movie and won an Oscar for this one. Minnie Driver as Stellan Skarsgård. Fantastic movie though. Like I said, this one's really rewatchable. A lot of fun. I think it goes through, basically what Matt Damon does in this movie is really fantastic. He's just a kind of like a brilliant character. Obviously, he and Affleck actually wrote the screenplay for this one, so obviously they had to star in the movie as well. But this one I can watch over and over. So number 1 from 1994. Obviously, I had to make this one number 1 from director Quentin Tarantino. The movie's called Pulp Fiction. This one's a fantastic movie. Obviously, it's John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Uma Thurman, Bruce Willis. I think a lot of filmmakers now have kind of copied this style now. Obviously, Tarantino's really influenced a lot of young directors. Yeah, I've seen it like in the last couple of years. A lot of people kind of copying this kind of style with like the chapters and everything, how the story's kind of told out of sequence. But fantastic movie. It's just such a wild movie for me. It's a Tarantino's best movie. I think he's made some really great ones too after this one too. But for me, it's always going to be Pulp Fiction. Okay, everybody, so really appreciate watching this video. Please leave in the comments your favorite like top 10 Miramax and Dimension films. Obviously, it doesn't have to be in this order. It doesn't have to be these same films. I think a lot of these are probably going to be on a lot of people's lists, but it doesn't have to be. Please, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider doing that. Please put a thumbs up on this video. Everybody have a great one.